So earlier today was E3, and with that, Gears of War players all around the globe rejoiced as we got the announcement of two new Gears of War games. Now, granted, we all saw that there was at least going to be one game coming at this event. Now, personally, I didn't actually believe that the Gears of War 1 remaster was going to come because, well, I had my reasons. You know, if you're interested in asking me, and I do stick by those reasons, if you're interested in asking me, feel free to ask me in the comments, but I'm not going to talk about it here. I want to talk about something else here. We also got Gears of War 4, which is coming in late 2016, so I'm not going to do too much on that. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but right now I do want to talk about one thing, and that one thing is why Gears of War 1 Remastered is going to be the best thing for Gears of War eSports since, I don't know, Cliff Bleszinski's parents were inseminated with the Cliff Bleszinski child, and he was born into the world and brought us the next... Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm sorry. Back to the point. I wanted to talk about the 5 main reasons why I believe that the next Gears of War title, i.e. Gears of War 1 Remastered, is going to be the best thing ever in Gears of War eSports. Now, I do have good reasons for this, and I'm going to start listing them off now. Number 1 is going to be, the thing about Gears of War 3 was that it was a great title and it was really refined, but overall there were some fundamental problems that made it really unenjoyable to play on a competitive level, and most of the veterans really just didn't like the way that Gears of War 3 was played, especially on a competitive level, and especially the way it forced you to throw away a lot of tactics and just Lancer everywhere, and skill was less important, team fire was less important, so people preferred Gears of War 1. A lot of players went back to Gears of War 1, and a lot of players just quit altogether because they didn't like Gears of War 3. And that just kind of killed off the competitive scene, especially here in Europe. Trust me, Americans, you don't understand how lucky you are to have Hyperstation. We don't have anything like that. Once Gears of War 3 was dead here, it was gone, and it still is gone on a competitive level. So that's the main reason why we didn't actually have good teams. It's not because we're terrible players, it's because we just didn't have players. So yeah, we have all of these veterans out there who love Gears of War 1, who play it on a competitive level, or have played it on a competitive level, who didn't really like Gears of War 3, but still loved the franchise in general. And now they have this game to go back to, and it will bring back lots of amazing players and reinvigorate the competitive scene, hopefully. So the second reason was going to be, there is going to be finally a skill-based ranking system in the game, hopefully a proper one. Hopefully we're not being punked. So it was said that Gears of War 3 and Gears of War 2 had a skill-based ranking system. I don't believe that personally. Like, I think we're being punked with that. I think it's just like a load of BS that there was ever really one, or at least if there was one, it just didn't work. It was just terrible. I mean, it just didn't feel like there was a skill-based ranking system. It felt like every game there was at least a couple of players just out of their depth and a couple of players just stomping everyone. So in pretty much every Gears of War game, that's how ranked has been. It's been kind of random about who gets matched up with who. But if we get to see a ranking system that's similar to the likes of League of Legends, Counter-Strike, StarCraft, games like that, it will be out of this world, because it will actually make the more casual players hopefully want to achieve something and get better at the game and really just get into the competitive side of it, and it'll actually make people interested in competitive Gears of War and interested in who is truly the best players. While a lot of them right now and throughout Gears of War 3's history at least have not really been that interested. I mean, casual players, most of them in Gears of War 3, were more interested in watching Team Essence make their montages against Team Chaos or something like that than actually watching the epics go at it, like having teams like Synergy versus Infinity. Those were crazy games, but like only a couple thousand people watched it. The next thing, or number 3 on the list, was going to be there's going to be new game types. We're going to have Gears of War 1 with more game types. That's amazing. So, while some games like Counter-Strike can survive on just one game mode, and while you can argue that League of Legends survives on one game mode, while the thing about League of Legends is the variety in that game comes from the champions you play, not the maps. So, it's because it's not a shooter, it's not really the same thing. But anyway, the point is, while Counter-Strike survives on its one game mode, that's because the game mode is so amazingly intricate, the strategies can go so deep in that game mode, and there's so much you can do with it, especially when you add in the economy system, the weapons, the choices you make of where you're going to go and how you're going to play and how a team plays on offense versus defense. It works for Counter-Strike. We don't have that in Gears of War. We have Execution, which is the closest thing to that game mode, and it's not nearly as intricate and not nearly as complex as Counter-Strike's bomb game mode is. So we need more variety in the competitive scene, and that's why we turn to King of the Hill. And it has been announced that King of the Hill will be returning to the next game in its Gears of War 3 form, hopefully with fixed spawning systems, because if the spawning system is anything like it was in Gears of War 3, that might be the damnation of King of the Hill once again, because that was the main reason why it was kind of like a secondary game mode in competitive on Gears of War 3, as opposed to something that was equal with Execution. And hopefully, maybe we can just about find another game mode to play. But I don't know what's going to quite happen yet. It's been announced that there's going to be multiple game modes like TDM, King of the Hill, Execution. Hopefully we see something new. Maybe we won't. But even if we don't, we should be able to make by, at least for a year, with what we've got. The fourth thing on the list was going to be that it's a highly customizable private match. So they've announced things like the ability to turn off and on active reloads, to change the timers of weapon spawns. It's just like, it's everything we need. And I'm really excited. But yeah, I mean, it's everything you could ask for in a Gears of War game, and I'm just crazily excited about that kind of thing, because like the main problem we've had is with the competitive scene in Gears of War is little things which add up to make a big thing that's kind of annoying. It's like playing Gears of War 3 and it's just like you want one weapon timer to be slightly lower and you want actives to maybe not be there, and maybe you want player movement to be slightly faster. I'm not sure if that's actually confirmed, but it's the little things. If you could change these things around just a tiny bit, you could make the game perfect for competitive to play and to watch. And that would just make the actual, just as long as the game's more fun to play and more fun to watch, that's like the main thing that makes a game a good esport. And then the fifth and final thing is, this is going to be the perfect stepping stone onto Gears of War 4. Now, granted, I'm not really talking about Gears of War 1 itself being the almighty kind of next step in esports history, because it's not going to be that. There's no way that Gears of War 1 is going to be the next mighty Gears of War game that storms the esports scene and takes the spotlight from games like Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, and Halo. That ain't going to happen on Gears of War 1. Not the remaster, not the old version. It's just not going to happen. But it gives us everything we need to get players who are interested in the game, interested in esports, to get people who were interested in the competitive scene back into it. And while it's not going to be like the perfect game ever, because it's not going to be that new and it's going to be things we already know, it still gives us that option of having something to really get people excited for the next game. It gives it gives people, the community, a revitalization so that they can actually go into Gears of War 4 as a united community, as an actual real community that can look at the next Gears of War game and know exactly where we're going to go from the day of release and know what we're going to do with it, because we're going to have a community that's there and together, and we're not going to have that when Gears of War 1 Remaster releases. And if we didn't have it, we probably wouldn't have it when the Gears of War 4 released, because there isn't that much going or that much motivating people to play and be part of it right now. But if there's a new, fresh game less than a year or going to be released less than a year before Gears of War 4, people will hopefully be playing it for the next 12 months over that period of time. Maybe it's about 15 months. It could be as much as 15 months, but we don't know. And the fact that we have a game to keep people excited about Gears of War all the way up until the point where Gears of War 4 releases, it gives me a glimmer of hope for the next game. And I really hope that the game itself will be up to the challenge and will be there for not just for esports but for Gears of War in general, and keep people excited. So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. That's pretty much all I've got to say. Anyway, I will catch you guys later.